Hi, it's Mel with the Quilting Room with Mel, and I am back with another vintage sewing machine. Today we are looking at the Kenmore 10, model number 385.12490. This machine is a little newer than the others that we have talked about. This one was probably in the 70s. This machine was not made by Kenmore. Singer made Singer, Necky made Necky. Kenmore did not make a sewing machine. Kenmore contracted with sewing machine manufacturers to make sewing machines for them and put their name on them. And they're called badged machines. It was not unusual in the past to have that done. It was very much more economical for a company like Kenmore to say, hey, Janome, will you produce, 5,000 machines, and this is what we want, than it was for them to set up the technology to do that. And I'm not sure which one of the companies made this one. The reason I gave you the model number, Kenmore 10 is a very popular badge name, but they don't seem to be the same machine. I'm in a vintage group on Facebook, and somebody said, hey, I got a Kenmore 10, and I'm like, yeah, I've got one too, and they posted a picture, and I'm looking at it going, that's not my machine, and even said that, and somebody said, well, I have a Kenmore 10, that's not my machine, and we started posting pictures and sharing our Kenmore 10s, and there were 5 of us with Kenmore 10s, and none of us had identical sewing machines. I want to get that model number out there. That is the one I have, the 385.12490. If you have one of the other Kenmore 10s, it may function similarly. I don't know, because I haven't used one. So let's jump in. Let's wind a bobbin, thread the machine, and sew on it a little bit. Okay, to wind a bobbin, let's start with what kind of bobbin do you need. You need a class 15 bobbin, and I am using a plastic one. This machine will use the plastic ones without a problem. The plastic ones are much more readily available than the metal ones, so I really like that. Your bobbin winder is over here. Okay, so I'm going to pop my bobbin on there. Okay. And there is a pigtail in the back. I know it's hard to see, but there's a pigtail in the back that we're going to go through. Then through this tensioner here and over to our bobbin. And I'm going to pop the bobbin off just because you don't want to look at my arm while I reach across to put the thread in the hole. Alright, we need to release the clutch, which is in our hand wheel. Okay. And then push the bobbin over, and you'll hear a snap. Okay, I always start a bobbin and then come in and cut the thread and then wind it. And that is winding a bobbin. Cut the thread, snap it back to the left, and then just take it off. Okay, and I'm going to re-engage our clutch so that we can sew. Okay, and let's thread our machine. Okay, I'm going to leave it in the pigtail in the back, but take it out of that tensioner. And take it through the first guide, up here, down into the tension, up all the way over, and your thread needs to be snapped up in here, and you'll be able to see that. And the spring, if you pull the thread, the spring back here should move. Okay. Behind this guide, up through the eye, back behind that guide again. There's a guide down here we snap through, and we have a guide down here, and it's not the pigtail like we've seen on the other machines. It's just a little clip. This machine is a front to back thread on your needle. The other machines have been left to right or right to left. This is front to back. This is what your modern machines are. The thread through, and underneath my presser foot. Now we need to put the bobbin in, and you might be wondering, where do you put it? There's no plate to slide. This machine is a free arm, and that means this little table area slides off. And the free arms are not necessarily a selling point if you just quilt, but if you're going to do any sort of garment work, if you're going to alter a pair of pants or anything like that, a free arm is a wonderful feature. You can slide your pants right on here, sew all the way around that cup, excuse me, and you don't have to worry about keeping the bottom edge of that circle out because it rides around on the free arm. And we open it up. Here is our bobbin area. It takes a bobbin case. Put our bobbin in there, and just like the Julia, slide it up and around, and slide it in there. You want to make sure it snaps. If it's a little loose, there we go. It should not move in the bobbin race area. And then we'll pull a thread up. We'll talk about the dials that you see real quick before we start sewing. This is your stitch selector. You have orange and yellow. In the orange, you don't have to do anything. There's your zigzag, straight. If you go this way, you have your buttonhole stitches, the 3 of them. Okay. We go back here, and I want the yellow, which is a thicker zigzag. There's a lever over here. It says stretch, and I have to push it down. Quilting. Up here is your stitch width. If you're zigzagging, you can adjust how wide or narrow, and then of course your reverse button, and then your stitch length. And since we are quilting, I'm going to put that between the 8 and the 12 to a little 4 patch I have set up here. Run through it. Okay. We'll sew a little seam here. Grabbing those tails in the back. And that was full speed, folks. If you notice, it is not as fast as the other machines I have shown. And that's okay. It doesn't make it a bad machine. It just makes it different than the others. Definitely, if you're new, speed is not always your friend. Even I find myself, I'll get on one of my machines that is extremely fast. I'll get to going so fast that I kind of lose track of what I'm doing, and then my seams aren't straight and I end up ripping out. So a little slower is not a bad thing. Hold that up so you can see the stitches. And that's it for today. Join me next week when I bring you another vintage sewing machine. Have a great day. Bye.